So from the IT side of things, we are handling all the heavy lifting from a technical hardware standpoint. So whereas Mike's group is focusing on the pedagogical side, like how do you use this in a class if you get confused or whatnot, we're more like, here's your clicker, here's your receiver, here's the software for your laptop, this is what you need to do. To get started with it, you need a laptop, Mac or PC are supported. For instructional use, we provide the receiver. So since all of you are instructors, you would just come, mostly speak with me. I would check out the little USB receiver to you, and you would have it to use. The hope is that as more and more instructors use this technology, my plan is to just install one of these in every classroom. So you would just walk in, plug your computer into a cable that would be right next to the VGA cable you normally use for the projector, and you've got a receiver, no questions asked. If you are from a department that's non-academic, you can buy a receiver to use. They're about $100. The clickers themselves, there's two models. We're actually kind of moving away from the RF, which is what you have in front of you, more towards the RF LCD, which is pictured here. Mostly because this little LCD screen gives students useful information like the battery level, if their answer was received. On these RF ones, there's a little LED. If your answer is received, it turns green. On this one, it actually shows your answer in a big, bold font that says 1A or whatever, so you know it went in. These are purchased through the bookstore by the students. They're about $40. Actually, I think they've come down a little bit because, again, as more and more people on campus start using them, we qualify for larger and larger price discounts because we're buying them in such bulk. But right now, I think they're just under, right around $40. I think when we first started, they were almost 50, weren't they, when we first started? Yeah, it's pretty pricey. If you're an department, again, non-academic, you can request a quote through us. We work directly with the vendor. They're very great, they're responsive, and we can give that to you. But if it's academic, your students will be buying it like they would a calculator or a book or something like that. The software itself is free. You can download it from their website. They ask for a lot of information when you download it from their website. They want your name and who you're affiliated with and all that. So they can send you, of course, email about how great their software is. On another slide, I have a link, and I don't know if
it's in the next slide.
Yeah, I don't know if this presentation will be.
Yeah, all this will be available on the website. So the actual slide presentation, so you can go back and
get the link,
yeah.
Or just if you contact us to get started, because and I'll talk about that too. We would just send you the link. We have it downloaded already. That way you don't have to go through and type in all your information. We have it stored on our servers. And so there's Turning Point Anywhere, which, like Katie was saying, can be done with any application. There is one with PowerPoint integration. However, if you're a Mac user, due to changes Microsoft did in Office 2008, the integration no longer works. So you have to use Anywhere if you're on a Mac. On the PC side, if you have PowerPoint 2003 or 2007, there is a version of Turning Point that integrates right into the application, and you create slides in PowerPoint just like you would any other slide, basically. So that's kind of the getting started part. So there's the link. We have it up on UCM Share. That is not the easiest, most intuitive link in the world, remember. So it'll be in the presentation, and again, if you were to reach out to get started through us, then we would provide this link in an email, which will probably make it a little easier. We do ask that if you are going to be using these in your classes, please let your instructional coordinators know. The problem is that the College Store only buys so many of these based on the classes that are there. So we actually already had an issue this semester, where a couple of surprises came up. We were like, oh yeah, we're going to use clickers. And they sent their students to the bookstore, and all of a sudden the bookstore had this huge demand, and they only bought supply for the classes they were told about. So I mean, like Biz 1 uses it, Chem 1 uses it. So these big underdivision classes are using it. And then these kind of onesie twosie classes said, yeah, we want to do it too. And then all of a sudden there was a deficit of clickers, and then that caused problems. So please let your instructional coordinator know, just so they can coordinate with the bookstore and say, currently there are 200 students registered for this class, please buy enough clickers. Because also right now, just until we build that confidence of this being a campus solution. The bookstore only wants to buy as many as they need, so they don't end up with a bulk of inventory. Creating presentations, there are 2 links to the vendor's website. They have some great videos and tutorials for how to use both Anywhere and the PowerPoint solution, and then some other user guides as well. Kind of your first step in this, it says contact IT to request receiver. You're really, after you talk to your instructional coordinator, you're going to be coming to me or my colleagues just so we can get you the receiver, also get you the software, get it installed, get it tested, make sure before you leave the help desk everything is working the way it needs to, so when you go to class the first time to use it, all of a sudden stuff doesn't just start popping up at random. But then once we get you set up from a technical standpoint, it's either kind of on you to play with it and use it in your classes and experiment, kind of like what Katie's been doing. Or, and I'll be touching on this in the next slide, we do have a new resource that the vendor, it's actually really a neat program they have called their student interns. And we don't pay for them. The vendor provided us with 2 positions that they pay for. I think it's like 20 hours a week for 2 people. And they are a resource for you to use. Are they here?
So yeah, right there, back there.
There you go. They'll be getting, the vendor does all the formal training, the vendor does all the heavy lifting. They do everything, and then they said, okay, here's a resource on campus for you to use. And they'll be under Mike's supervision. So once we get the technical stuff squared away, you would then kind of work with CRTE, either Mike or the 2 interns, to sit down and try and work through things or use the software however you need to. So this is kind of our contact information for the technical, or even some of the first, until we get the logistics of how we're going to use the interns and whatnot. You can always call the help desk. We'll do what we can. If it's something where it's outside our scope of knowledge, because I've never taught a class, well, an academic class in my life. So if you're asking me, oh, well, is this going to be useful for getting feedback? I couldn't tell you. That's kind of our one limitation, I guess. So that's it for kind of IT's role in the technical side of things.